Welcome, I'm Joyce, and here's what happened this week. The head of Estonia's Foreign Affairs Committee says he'd welcome Taiwan to set up a representative office in his country's capital, Tallinn. Marco Mikkelsen was in Taipei as part of a delegation from the Baltic states. He spoke to our reporter, Stash Butler.
You're here with the Foreign Affairs Committee heads of Latvia and Lithuania. Both of those countries have representative offices that manage ties with Taiwan. Latvia has the Taipei mission and Lithuania has the Taiwanese representative office, but Estonia doesn't have anything. Why not?
I would definitely would like to see Taipei's office to be opened in Tallinn as well, as it has been open in almost every EU member state. We have here in Taipei 16 representatives from different EU member states, including also EU Commission's representatives, and I think that this is certainly the area for us as well as a small economy to consider seriously. Maybe we should also open here our trade representative office. Our mutual trade currently between Estonia and Taiwan is around 100 million euros, which is for our size not that bad, and definitely there is a kind of potential to grow.
How worried are you about what China will do, given what happened with Lithuania, which lost 80% of its trade with China? Now, Estonia does about 1.4 billion euros worth of trade with China. Did that last year. Are you worried about putting that at risk?
Worry about what? Again, you have to understand what kind of those technicalities are there if we are going to move ahead with, let's say, if Taipei has an interest to open Taipei's office in Estonia, then this is the matter of discussion, obviously back in Tallinn as well, but obviously a small democracy or democracies like Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, for us is vital to defend the rule-based world order. And in that regard, obviously, closer cooperation between democratic societies is absolutely the must.
Taiwanese chip giant TSMC is set to build its first European factory in Germany. The move has been welcomed by German industry leaders who want to bring supply chains closer to home. It's official. TSMC is setting up shop in Europe. After years of talks, the world's largest contract chip maker has decided to greenlight a new factory in Dresden, the capital of Germany's eastern state of Saxony. The area is a powerhouse of European chip production, with 1 in 3 chips made in Europe coming from Saxony. Building on that momentum, TSMC has said it will invest up to $3.8 billion in a joint venture for the new Dresden factory. The Taiwanese chip giant will own 70% of it, while Germany's Bosch and Infineon and the Netherlands' NXP will each own 10%. The site won't be making TSMC's most advanced chips either. Those will be produced exclusively in Taiwan, with the company's Kaohsiung site set to be the latest to start producing state-of-the-art 2-nanometer technology. The proposed site in Germany will instead focus on more mature technologies for automotive use. Some analysts say Europe's strong industrial history will likely be an advantage here.
Even if Germany and Europe maybe doesn't have these big global companies that everyone knows, there are a lot of niche technologies where German and European companies are still leading, including in semiconductors.
This comes as the US and China, the world's top superpowers, battle for global tech supremacy. Both sides have been working to ramp up chip-making capabilities through new laws and by issuing strict controls and even bans against each other. It's caused unease among some in Europe.
Europe is somewhat caught in the middle because technologically we both depend in certain technologies on the US and in other technologies on China. Europe wants to just be less dependent on other powers as these geopolitical tensions rise.
Aside from governments, private companies have also been moving to diversify production and supply chains. That includes TSMC with its growing list of overseas investments. Until 2022, the chip giant's only factory outside of Taiwan was in Nanjing, China. Now it's building a plant in Japan in a joint venture with Sony, and one in the western U.S. state of Arizona. TSMC has already invested $40 billion in that highly anticipated plant. The proposed fab in Germany now joins the growing list. But it hasn't all been smooth sailing. TSMC has already delayed its Arizona plant's start date due to shortages of skilled labor, a problem some say might also be an issue for its German factory.
德国的工会其实他们的势力恐怕会比美国更加的大，而且更加的强悍。而且不要忘掉，德国本身还有绿党、工党，这些的话都是非常左翼的政党。
Whether TSMC will be able to fill up its Dresden site with the right talent is yet to be seen. But for the time being, the new investment could help build enthusiasm, persuading others in the supply chain to set their sights on Europe. International defense experts, analysts, and politicians have gathered in Taiwan to discuss security issues threatening the Indo-Pacific. Rick Lauert has this report.
Taiwan is hosting its annual Petikalan Forum. It's an Indo-Pacific security conference that puts Taiwan and its concerns at the center of the conversation. Here in the capital Taipei, President Tseng is hosting speakers from Israel, Estonia, Japan, and India, all weighing in on the growing challenges facing this region. It comes at a time of heightened tension in the Indo-Pacific, with both North Korea and China threatening the delicate status quo. Taiwan and its neighbours are growing edgy over Chinese military aggression in the South China Sea and towards Taiwan, a country it claims as part of its territory. It's led to a build-up of military activity and unprecedented defence spending. The forum included speeches on cognitive warfare, cybersecurity, and how to protect supply chains.
日本周辺でも軍備増強が急速に進展しており、日本は戦後第二次世界大戦後最も厳しく複雑な安全保障環境のただ中にあります。
Taiwan says it does not want war with China, but that it is determined to defend itself.
Taiwan has been taking the necessary measure to upgrade our security capabilities. We have set up new facilities to advance our domestic development of naval vessels. We have taken steps to bolster and train our reserve forces. We have also made substantial investments to enhance our asymmetric defense capability. All these efforts are contributing to our move towards self-sufficiency in our national defense.
Under pressure from China, Taiwan is so often denied its voice on the world stage. This conference is an important opportunity for Taiwan to discuss its concerns with its regional and global partners. But it's also a display of unity in increasingly uncertain times. Scott Huang and Rick Lauert in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
U.S. President Joe Biden has approved the first section of a trade agreement between the U.S. and Taiwan. This allows the two countries to begin tackling several problems under the U.S.-Taiwan Initiative on 21st Century Trade, including customs procedures, regulatory practices, and small to medium-sized businesses. Biden also raised what he called constitutional concerns about parts of the agreement. He said that sections that violate the U.S. president's authority to negotiate with a foreign partner would be treated as non-binding. Taiwan's foreign ministry has thanked Biden for his support for improved bilateral trade and economic relations. China announced on Thursday that it would reopen group tourism to over 70 countries, but Taiwan wasn't on the list. Ed Moon takes a look at how a lack of Chinese tourism is impacting local businesses.
Yongkang Street is one of Taipei's busiest areas. It's filled with some of the capital's most popular restaurants, tea houses, and souvenir shops. But it's not as busy as it once was. Before the COVID pandemic in 2019, these streets often saw people queuing out the doors of the most popular shops. But there's one big difference between then and now. No Chinese tourists. Both Beijing and Taipei stopped allowing Chinese tourists to visit Taiwan once the pandemic broke out.
曾经破纪录来我们这个永康商圈消费。 他买那个文创品文创的东西，一个人呢1笔 超过台币30万了。我们也很希望就是有中国大陆这边的观光客进来我们永康商圈。
In 2019, over 11 million tourists visited Taiwan, and among them, the largest number were from China at 2.7 million. Now, in the first 4 months of this year, with no Chinese tourists, there have been less than 2 million visitors. China has now announced it will allow group tours to resume to more than 70 countries, including Japan, the US, and UK. But Taiwan wasn't on the list. Officials in Taipei say Beijing hasn't responded to calls to reopen tourism between the two sides.
我们并没有禁止我们的国人用自由行的方式到中国大陆。中共那边到目前为止一直不肯开放团客也好自由行，主管机关已经透过管道跟他们谈到我们相互的来开放。但是现在就说对方还没有正面的来回应我们，这是我们比较遗憾的。
With Taiwan set to go to the polls in January to choose its next president, Chinese tourists, or the lack of them, could become an issue at the ballot box too. For now, those who rely on a thriving tourism industry can only wait and hope that politics won't get in the way. Devon Tai and Ed Moon for TaiwanPlus.
Foxconn founder Terry Guo has announced a new political alliance aimed at defeating the ruling party. At a political rally in southern Pingtung on Wednesday, Guo unveiled the Mainstream Public Opinion Alliance. That group is meant to rally Taiwan's main opposition parties against the ruling Democratic Progressive Party in next year's elections. Guo said the future of Taiwan cannot be determined by one party alone. He added that public opinion is more important than party opinion. The billionaire has hinted at launching an independent presidential campaign, but he has not confirmed whether he will run. Taiwan's Centers for Disease Control suspects an outbreak of dengue fever is spreading to the country's north. John Van Trieste reports.
Taiwan's worst outbreak of dengue fever since 2015 appears to be spreading. Until now, cases have been overwhelmingly in the south. But the Centers for Disease Control is treating 2 cases in the north, one in Taipei and the other in the city of Hsinchu, as local infections. The total number now stands at above 1,200. In Taipei, where one of the new cases was reported, sanitation workers are busy spraying for mosquitoes, the carriers of the disease. They're also clearing away standing water where mosquitoes generally breed.
这个患者这个100公尺以内的地方这个我们就持续的来做一个这个容器这个看一些环境的这个清除。
Not everyone agrees that the cases really are local in origin. Both patients had recently been to the southern city of Tainan, the center of the outbreak, where over 1,000 have fallen ill.
主要工作还是在新竹市所以疾病管制署那边判定是属于新竹市的个案不过我们就他的那个病史来讲的话，我们推测感染应该还是在台南市。
Still, local officials are being careful, as dengue can be dangerous. A patient with other medical conditions died Wednesday in the southern county of Pingtung. With recent typhoons and the summer monsoon, there's standing water all over the country in need of clearing away.
近期持续有降雨的情形，呼吁民众雨后应立即进行我们住家内外环境的整顿与滋生源清除，落实巡倒清刷。
Mosquito eggs can survive for a year and only need 0.5 milliliters of water to do so, making even a small amount of standing water a potential breeding ground with its own dangers. James Lin and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching. Here's what happened. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Before we go, check out these shots from a fireworks show at Taipei's Dadao Tseng. I'm Joyce. Take care and see you next time.